Okay, hello and welcome to day one of making a game and releasing it in 2 months. 2 months, or something like that. Don't have an actual deadline set yet, but that'll be soon in the future. And I'm stressing out. I've got a lot to do. It's crazy. I talked to Isaac, my artist friend, yesterday.
Yeah. I was thinking about the whole.
Right. So we have. Basically, we can break it into.
I'll make this. So okay, actually let's first talk about when.
Oh, it's fine. Like I'm talking like.
I meant like for the fucking weekend.
Okay, I thought you were like, yeah, we're gonna sculpt the thing up, put it in engine. Like what? What are you doing?
No.
I don't. VFX.
Yeah.
I can handle most of that.
Yeah. Concept stuff will be done this weekend. Monday would be.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah.
The job at Food Basics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But
absolutely hate ourselves, but then.
Yeah. And luckily, he's agreed to help out, so or to partner with me on the project. So that's really great, and we're going ahead with this thing. It's happening. We're gonna give it our best shot. The plan is to have a detailed plan by Monday. Currently it's Saturday. Yesterday was Friday when I decided to go forward with this project. And so by Monday we want a very detailed game design plan. We want a playable prototype. And we want a fairly well fleshed out art concept. So he's going to be delivering on the art side. I'm going to be delivering on the game design and the code side. So this is like a little mini game jam, except that it is going to keep going for a couple months after this weekend. So to start, I've made a document to start outlining things in detail. If we're going to make something fast, we need to know exactly what we're doing, or at least to the best of our ability. We need to plan in as much detail as we can. So I've got an extensive section here for the game design, which I'm going to be working on next. I got some art direction, which will hopefully be filled in by Monday. I've got some heading for production, so I'm going to be figuring out deadlines, figuring out like once we know what the game design is and what the requirements of that game design are, like what technical requirements and artistic requirements. I'm going to actually try to set some goals and some milestones as far as like how we're going to go about delivering the game systems and the content that is needed to hit the game design. Also very important is the marketing. This is huge. Obviously, I want some people to actually play it and hopefully buy it and maybe make a few bucks on this game. So I really need to do a detailed deep dive into what my plans are on the different platforms, on YouTube as I'm recording this now, on Instagram. I haven't been using Instagram very much, but I think now's the time to get started with that. Twitter game, establishing a presence on Twitter and trying to basically figure out a plan to funnel people to be aware of the game and follow it and to be notified when the game comes out so that they might purchase it. I've also heard from a lot of other YouTubers because I've been digging around and seeing different people's advice on launching a game. Steam wishlists are a big deal and they can really make or break a game launch, or at least it can potentially make a game launch work. So I think part of the strategy or a large part of the strategy will be to funnel people to get them to wishlist the game and build up some momentum in Steam's algorithms there to hopefully get featured or something like that. Advertising is also going to be a pretty big deal. I think we'll see how much money I have to spend on it, but I'm excited to experiment with some advertising techniques on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. I don't really know what I'm doing there, but I have a lot of ideas that I would like to try out. The next big part of the master plan that I need to detail out is distribution. I mean, itch.io is really great, and I would love to just go on there, but as other people have mentioned on YouTube as well, it's not big enough, it's not viable for a, you'd be leaving a lot on the table to not launch on Steam. We are going to launch this game on Steam. And that means that I'm going to have to register a business and figure out all the paperwork and do what I need to do to properly get onto Steam. I might also try to sell on a private website. I don't know if I'll have time to build a website in that time. And maybe even Discord store. I'm just going to do some investigation there. So we'll get more detailed here as we go on. But obviously Steam is going to be the big one. And And unfortunately, I also need to think of legal things, because this will be the first game that I try to sell. I need to think about taxes, and there's just a lot here that I need to think about to make sure I do this all legally and without screwing myself over in some way. Originally, I had planned to keep this very, very simple and just be a sole proprietorship that doesn't really need to be registered up front. There's no real paperwork involved with it. I can just start doing business until I start making money. But this gets a little bit more complicated now that I'm working with other people. I also planned on using the brand of Steph Devs, using my own name to brand these games. But now that I'm working with other people, that doesn't really seem suitable. It wouldn't make sense for me to put just my name on the title of the company. It seems pretty douchey to do that when there's multiple people involved in the project. So I also need to figure out a company name. But while coming up with a studio name isn't the most important thing, or it doesn't seem like it, it is actually quite pertinent. I need to do that so that I can register a business, so that I can figure out the branding for that, and so that I can get onto Steam, make a Steam page, and have that ready to go as early as possible, so that I can start driving traffic towards it and hopefully build up something of a following for the launch of the game. You can probably tell by my open tabs here that I have been working on this business side of things for the morning. I was curious to kind of dig into that and see what I would need to do and get something of a plan going. But I'm going to switch gears now, and I'm going to switch over to working on the game design. So I'm going to spin up Twitch, I'm going to go live, and I'm going to do some live game design. Alright, it's pretty close to the end of the night for me, and I'm getting quite tired, and these are getting very tricky to record. But I've got a pretty good design document that I'm pretty happy with so far. It's nowhere near complete, but it's complete enough that I can probably start prototyping. I've got a decent amount of detail put into the core design pillars and the design direction of the game, basically the intent of what I'm trying to create here. This stuff is looking pretty good. It could use some more fleshing out, and especially once it comes to communicating to the design to others and getting a real solid pitch down. This is going to need more work. I've also got a rough metagame structure, and this just means like the player loop from start to end. Like how does the flow work from the menu to raids, and like starting the start of a raid, the end of a raid, what happens in between, stuff like that. Just a very basic outline of basically what the game experience is, what the player does. I've got some information on the player goals, like from the player's perspective, what are they trying to do throughout the game. It's very rough, but it's a good start here. I'll talk about the combat just a bit and environments just a bit. Mostly just ask some important questions that are going to have to be answered in the future. But I've got enough information there, and with a raid design to start prototyping something and kind of have a preliminary minimal version of what I have in my head. So tomorrow I'm going to start on that, and you'll be joining me along. And if you are joining me along, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.